Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making an easy, delicious cinnamon swirl bread. So let's get started. First off, I'm measuring out my bread flour for this. You could use all-purpose flour, but the bread flour will give you a nicer texture. I want 3 1/4 cups or 390 grams right into the bowl of my mixer. I want 1/4 cup or 50 grams of granulated sugar. You can use half a teaspoon of salt for this. Giving this a quick whisk. Yeast love sugar. They hate salt. Sorry to use a sandpaper word, but they don't like it at all. It will kill them. So you don't want to have like the salt sitting on top when you add your yeast in. Most of the times we'll add it in later, but there's really not that much salt for the amount of flour and sugar and yeast we have. 2 1/4 teaspoons, 1 package of instant yeast. I really wanted to develop this recipe for you because cinnamon swirl bread looks so beautiful. It's like a mesmerizing swirl of cinnamon. You're just like, oh, this is gonna be delicious. But every time I've bought it from the grocery store, it is dry. It is a dry, disappointing bread, and it's not cool. It makes me so sad because it was such a tease. This is done, mixed it up, popping it onto my mixer, and we'll deal with it later. This homemade version is moist, it is soft, it's like cloudy bread that you're going to love. It's like perfect with a little bit of butter in the morning. Now, in a small pan, we're gonna add our wet ingredients and get them nice and hot and melty. You know, one of the secrets to a nice bread is adding a good amount of butter in. So, that was on purpose. 6 tablespoons of butter right into your pan, along with 1/4 cup or 60 mils of whole milk. If you don't want milk, you could use a nut milk instead, doesn't matter. Or just more water, but the milk adds some nice richness. And 60 mils of water as well. I have this over medium-low heat. It really depends on your stove. We only need this to get to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, and that happens very fast. So you might actually turn your stove off before the butter melts completely because the residual heat will melt the remaining butter. I'm warming my milk and melting the butter in so the yeast has a really nice cozy place to wake up in. Yeast will die if it's screaming hot, and if it's ice cold, they just won't wake up. So you wanna have it nice and warm. I'm actually gonna break a couple eggs so they're ready to go into our dough. This is at 130. I'm setting my mixer to low, and I'm gonna pour this into a measuring cup. Okay, now slowly pour the warm milk mixture into the flour. Now I'm gonna add my 2 eggs that I cracked earlier. Just give them a second to mix first. And 2. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a start with my spatula. Now, increase speed to medium, and we're gonna mix this for 10 to 12 minutes or until we have a soft, elastic dough. You'll see the difference, it's gonna be amazing. Okay, our dough looks so much smoother now. Look at that, it's nice, it's elastic, I can stretch it out, and this is ready for a rise. So I'm just gonna shape it into a ball. This is going right back in the mixing bowl. I'm just gonna cover it up, and this is gonna go into a warm draft-free place to rise and double in size. It'll take about an hour, maybe a little bit more. My dough is risen, and I preheated my oven to 350 Fahrenheit. Take a look at this. This dough has risen up, it's nice and large. I'm gonna punch it down. It feels so good, it's like warm and soft. Punch, 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 punch. I have a pastry mat. It's one of my favorite things to use for any kind of bread making or pastry making because you just flip it off, nothing's ever gonna stick to your counter, and it makes just everything happier. Grab some flour, a little bit of flour. We're gonna dump this out. I'm gonna give it a little stretch to start off. The nice thing about not using plastic is that it's a little bit not sticky on top, so it can move around and won't get stuck. Roll this out, keep your dough moving. And I want a 9 by 15 inch rectangle. It'll be able to roll into the perfect loaf for your pan. So you can pull the corners out a bit because it naturally wants to be like a big oval, which is not what we want. My sons Lachlan and George love this recipe so much because it's like a morning treat for them to have. A little cinnamon bread, some butter on top, but that spiral is like captivating. And this is a great recipe to use for French toast, for example, if you want to be a little bit fancy, or even like a bread pudding. Of course, the first step though is to get this into the right shape. Okay, that's just about right. This looks great. I'm gonna let it rest for just a minute while I make my cinnamon sugar. Get a small bowl, 1/4 cup of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon. If you wanted to, you can add so many different spices to this and it's gonna be great. I'm keeping it just cinnamon today. No cardamom, no allspice, because that's what the boys like. And my last step is just to butter my loaf pan. So here, a little butter goes a long way. Now we're ready to add our cinnamon sugar on top. Leave like a 1/4 inch or so of a short edge bare, because that's gonna be the edge that sticks, so you have to pinch it closed. This is easy as can be, but the rolling can be just a little bit tricky. Just get all of that covered with your delicious cinnamon sugar. You don't need to add butter like you would for a cinnamon roll. Some of you might be thinking, should I be buttering this up? The answer is nope, it'll all work out just fine. Now for the fun part, we're gonna roll this up into a beautiful spiral, but do not go too tight like that. It's gonna be tempting, but then your dough is not gonna have the best time rising. So tight roll, but not like strangle tight, just like that. So here, this last flap, I'm gonna leave this on top and just pinch it closed, like that. Pinch, pinch, pinch. Just grab a little water as glue to help hold it together. It really only has to stick for a moment until you plop it into the pan. But it's frustrating if it keeps falling out and flopping and you're losing cinnamon sugar. This is my trick to get it in easily. You have no idea, whenever I made this before, like for many times, I lift it up and put it in, but you just roll it in. It smells delicious, but it needs one more rise. So, covering it back up with my paper, it's gonna go back to a warm, cozy place for 45 minutes or so, or until it's doubled in size. And you really wanna be loose. Give it some room to rise. My dough is out of its warm, cozy place. You can see it's doubled up in size. It looks amazing already. And it's ready to go into the oven, 350 for about an hour. The top will be domed up and golden brown. And if you wanna use an instant read thermometer, it'll be 195 in the center when it's done. Out of the oven, cooled and ready to cut. You've gotta see the inside. Look at that, so beautiful every time. It smells amazing too. That is delicious. It's cinnamony, just sweet enough, and so soft on the inside. I hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and if you like my videos, check out my cinnamon playlist.